Welcome to another episode of the Weekly Hijack.
Jack.
Once Upon a Time edition. So you know how CW shows have kind of a reputation for having a certain kind of sappy romance? I'm afraid ABC's penchant for primetime soap opera is kind of infecting Once Upon a Time again.
I can see that, yes.
But
Okay, so
we just finished the episode Unforgiven.
Season 4, Episode 2. Or 14, I guess, technically. 2 of the mid-season.
And I guess there's a lot that the Charmings are assuming that they are unforgiven about.
Yeah,
they're feeling a lot of guilt, but not doing much productive about it.
Any thoughts from others first before?
Lame.
All of it, or just...
No, there was... Okay, so like I think the Maleficent having a kid at the same time as thing is indeed... That's a neat story idea.
Yeah.
And if we could have got to that without this, like... Honestly, I cannot buy them, like, we have to keep this secret. We have to keep this secret. We have to keep it... Oh, crap, we shouldn't have kept this secret. You know what I mean? We've done...
Keep it anyway.
Oh, look, we've
and
done
lie
that.
to Emma, despite the fact that she's supposed to be able to see lies.
We've done this before. I mean, it's like...
Yeah.
You know, and she's like... Snow was evil for a time, and then she was like, "Oh no, I'll never be evil." You know, that was just the worst thing. You know, and nowhere in there did we get a hint that she did this horrible evil thing. I mean, I don't know.
Well, here's my other thing. When you're gonna do a con, like, oh, we wanted you to find out that we stole this thing in order to go to Maleficent so we'll get your blood. First, then that means that all the bad guys knew that the Charmings were going to lie their way, which is not the first thought anyone on the show would think, is it?
Should have. No.
So they're like, we are relying on the fact that they will lie and follow us and hide evidence and then finally give us what we want. It doesn't make any sense.
Like, couldn't they have just, like, seriously, couldn't they, if they all needed was blood, couldn't they have cut them, dropped their drops of blood into, like, a vial or something and then taken it down to...
I like the idea of the long con as a device. But you gotta be careful that it's something that would actually make sense for someone to expect people to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always a little iffy, but it's like, really, you relied on them to lie to everyone to get what you wanted?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Rumpelstiltskin knows them that well to have planned that, but...
It seems unnecessarily complicated. But yeah, no, there was a lot of lameness in this episode. I'm afraid I have to agree with Zach.
It was all... I mean, now, I'm not sure... We'll see how they do the Emma being evil thing, because I think they hinted at that later on, and we'll see. It could be done well. The idea of Maleficent having this baby, I think is a really neat... That's completely original, which is something this episode completely lacked, with any originality at all.
Yeah, I was pretty excited, and then we find out that the baby's dead, and then I'm like, well, oh, shoot.
Yeah, that's not...
Yeah. Honestly, they were trying to say that for like a big reveal, and that was sort of, as soon as she said that she had a baby, that was kind of the first thing my mind went to in terms of what the Charmings have been so ashamed of. It's like, well, we haven't seen this baby before. Charmings are really upset about something. They probably helped kill it, or, you know.
And the thing is, they'll probably end up at some point that something they did accidentally caused the death, and they feel this deep guilt about it, as opposed to like...
They didn't like actually murder the thing, or like
and maybe
child sacrifice or something.
I mean, because they
actually awful.
Child sacrifice.
Maybe they said we led to the death of so they've left a lot of wiggle room to what actually happened.
Then, I mean, okay, it's going to come and bite them in the butt that they didn't tell Emma the truth, and then Emma's not going to forget. It's going to be a thing, and then they're going to. It's like. We haven't done that storyline before.
And honestly, the version of that story that worked better was the Hook, like, hiding his...
Yes!
That one, like, it made sense.
Beginning and an ending.
Yeah. And it...
wasn't this drawn-out affair. It was like...
And it's not... I mean, it's been done... It seems to me, and I can't remember exactly, but that it's been done specifically with the Charmings and Emma before.
Well, it's like this season, they kind of flip heroes and villains, and I think this plotline of Regina being good and saying sorry and then having to infiltrate the bad guys could be interesting. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's a bad setup.
Yeah, it's kind of like alcohol to somebody who's been addicted before.
So I see, that's an interesting thing. And then you got Hook trying to be good or bad. But the whole trying to turn the Charming's bad just doesn't fly.
We've done that before.
We've done it before, and it just doesn't feel natural.
No, the Charmings are good. They're supposed to be good now.
Well, no, that, but they don't. The two things is they never feel. They have this deep guilt, but it doesn't seem to mesh with their.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work with their characters the way they are, where they are right now.
And sometimes I don't feel like these three evil queens are all that evil. They seem to strut around a lot, look impressive, but I don't know that they've done anything.
Which was kind of hinted at when Regina was like, "Big deal." They don't have that much magic.
Yeah.
I mean, that I thought was worth. That made me go, okay, they're not that big a deal.
Yeah. And Maleficent seems the one that's most likely to be actually like Cruella's. She's kind of fun.
So lame. I mean, her painted on eyebrows are just horrendous. They're awful.
So I have just thrown in here. I don't know what's up with Ursula's tentacles are like Mr. Fantastic. I mean, they're like they can like reach like around the block.
I can never see them except for when.
I mean,
I do appreciate that in next episode. It does seem as if, Cruella is always wearing her thing, which I guess is regular people clothes.
In New York, maybe.
For her, she's always worn that regular. But Maleficent is going to be wearing not the black horns and stuff, which I'm like, thank goodness.
Some sort of disguise.
Always worn. I mean, she's not wearing tentacles all the time.
Yeah. No. Just trying to blend in a little bit. And it's interesting.
She's better than all of the Frozen.
Because Maleficent was in the first season, and her costume wasn't quite as overtly the animated like the costume she's in here. So because
the movie came out recently, they have to wear.
They have to go back to it.
I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
Was it the same actress? I wonder.
Yes, it is the same actress. Actually,
I just wondered if she purposely has to powder her lips extra big just to be like Angelina Jolie, since that came out.
But I think she did say something about like when she first saw the Charmings. Didn't she say something like, "I got a new, I look different" or something like that? Or maybe
I don't remember.
But anyway, I mean,
I didn't catch that.
In the flashback.
Oh.
Which, speaking of flashbacks, I think at some point they're going to have to get away from that because, no offense to the actors, but they're not as young as they were at the beginning of the show.
I think the biggest change is Snow, and not that she's old, but she's had a baby, and that changes how you look.
Yeah.
She said it.
I had to leave it to one of the women to say it. I wasn't going to touch that word.
I said it because Haley would have said it.
And honestly, like Zach said last week, the flashbacks don't add much, really.
No.
I mean they add little bits, but you're like they're largely treading water at this point.
It worked better when they had the one season where they had where they had been sent back.
So we're showing both like what happened in the in between time.
Yeah, that worked because it was like all new stuff, and it didn't matter that they.
And now just cramming weird, charming stuff places
into the timeline,
and so nothing important can happen because they've already done the really important thing. So we're gonna have this quest to do something that fails. Basically, just so we can tell you that Maleficent had a baby.
Yeah. I really think this show would be... The problem is that their characters have... Most of them have gone as
through
far
their
as
arc.
they really should. I mean, through the big things. And so they have to keep making up these new big things for them to go through, and it just doesn't feel as real. They really need... The Once Upon a Time universe is huge, and is a great universe. They really need to be done with these characters and do a new universe. Do like Wonderland was.
Yeah.
Well, and the thing is, I wonder if it's... You say it's like all the characters, but they're still coming up with interesting stuff for like Emma and Gold and Belle. I think the problem is essentially the Charmings. They don't know what to do with Snow and Prince.
I feel that about Gold though too. I mean,
he's kind of backed himself into a corner.
Great character that they just turned him evil again, but
he really doesn't want to be.
But that was not. I never really loved his final turn back to being evil again. Because
it wasn't very well explained last.
No, he wasn't well explained at all.
Yeah.
He was turned around after his son and Belle and all this kind of stuff, and then he.
I think because he
the dark one free of the dagger again. I mean,
I think because he had been enslaved by the Wicked Witch. I think that was sort of his excuse for it. But they didn't go into it nearly as much as they should have.
I think Gold. I mean, they brought him back to being interesting again, but I still think they might be recycling him a little. too much too.
It's possible.
I do say the Bell Knave reveal.
Oh.
Yeah, what was that
I don't
about?
know. No, like it's been like what 4 months, something like that. What was it?
I thought they said 6 weeks.
Only 6 weeks. Okay, here's the thing. If you want to have the Knave hitting on her, that makes sense to me.
That's totally.
Like,
and her maybe like
let's see.
being a little receptive to it.
Because she just got pulled over by the flat. Her whole. But the thing is, she was mad. She threw life in with him for ages. You don't unless it's just like a rebound thing, I guess. But it seemed like it came off way too strong.
Yeah. Oh, way too strong.
I'm not necessarily against the Knave interested in making Gold jealous. I mean, that's good. That's kind of a neat thing. But
and the Knave is a character they could bring in more. I mean, he was great in Wonderland.
He was awesome.
I was a little surprised, actually, when he appeared at the beginning of the episode. You notice he did take up coffee for 2 people, apparently.
Oh, that's true. Good catch.
Nice catch.
But I was wondering if it'd even show up, because he didn't have a whole lot to do in the last arc.
just wandering
He just
around.
They really
showed up.
could have done that last scene exactly the same, and him touched her shoulder, or her touched his shoulder, or brushed something off of his face or something.
But the full-on
And it
kiss,
would have been, you would have felt exactly oh man, she's interested in him, or there's this thing. But the full-on kiss was really?
yeah,
It was too much.
yeah.
Too much.
And in Gold's shop, I mean, if she hated him, wouldn't she just leave the shop and go back to her books? I mean, why is she still there?
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out.
Isn't there somebody else at the library now?
Well, Hook was doing some
research.
research. I don't know if he
Who
was.
else was there at the library with him? Wasn't there somebody
Belle.
else? Oh, it was Belle. Oh, so
Yeah.
she's running both places.
Yeah, somehow. Belle is
I'm
somehow.
not sure why they need a pawn shop in this town, anyways, or laws for that matter. That they can't arrest somebody without probable cause,
Which is ridiculous.
There
Because
are no laws.
in detective shows they can, so why not?
Well, they've locked people up
For less.
and
Yeah.
kept them locked up for.
I mean,
I'm not sure one of these episodes we won't have Regina go, if only we had this person. And then she goes, oh crap, I still have them in my basement. Like that.
Okay.
But-
Well, we gotta wrap this up.
but I do. The charming thing's annoying. I do think a lot of the B plot lines were interesting and could pay off well.
Yes.
I don't know. I always like the Regina plot line lately, but
Well, the whole author thing.
the other thing's cool. Bring back Pinocchio. That was out of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's always nice to throw Geppetto in there if you can do something actually.
I'm
kind
of hopeful they'll throw on Jiminy Cricket here again sometime soon if they're bringing back Geppetto. That was
but
nice.
I guess the charming's being evil just doesn't.
It's not working.
It's not
working, guys.
No.
Well, until next time, thanks for putting up with our whining. From the Hayden household, this is Tim,
This isn't it.
and you can listen to us all over the place.
All right.
Bye.